Hello, what is up guys? Eman from Peso Smart PH here. Welcome sa panibagong episode. Shout out to all podcast listeners as well. I appreciate you all. Today, let's talk about IPOs. Specifically, IPOs from the PSE this year. Back in November 22, 2023, the Philippine SEC made a statement about banning unregistered cryptocurrency and online trading platforms to protect Filipino investors. And during that time, the PSE has 284 PLCs or publicly listed companies. Their goal is to match a country like Vietnam, another Southeast Asian country who has more than 400 PLCs in their local stock exchange. So to do that, Mr. Kelvin Lester Lee, the SEC commissioner, said that their initial goal was to list up to 15 IPOs in the near term. So he added that when there is more capital and wealth to go around, the more resources there are for both the government and the private sector to invest in the country's economic and social development. Even individual investors have more chances to invest and earn from dividends. Increasing the number of PLCs and IPOs is a booster for our economy. And simply put, it's a builder of wealth and capital. Having more PLCs and IPOs also impacts good governance and social development. A quick summary lang about IPOs. So, an initial public offering or IPO refers to the process of offering shares of a private corporation to the public in a new stock issuance. Companies must meet requirements by exchanges and the Securities and Exchange Commission or SEC to hold an IPO. IPOs provide companies with an opportunity to obtain capital by offering shares through the primary market. And before a private company goes public, merong private round of funding for those businesses. First one is pre-seed funding stage. Essentially, brainstorming of business ideas and target market with fellow founders. The number 2, seed funding stage. Dito pumapasok yung mga angel investors. The founders will provide company equity in return for cash investments from the angel investors. Number 3, Series A funding. Mga venture capitalists na yung investors sa stage na to. And dito na rin magta-try mag-scale ng business yung mga founders. So, dito na nag-grow yung company or yung business. The number 4, Series B funding. Kapag umabot dito, the founders have proven na scalable na yung business idea and yung mismong business na binuo nila. The number 5, Series C funding. This is when the business starts to think about going international or global. The number 6, Series D funding. So, this is a new opportunity for growth before an IPO, or the business may have missed the goal set for the Series C funding series. So, nangyayari to kapag medyo bumababa na or umiikli yung runway ng isang business. Then number 7, mezzanine funding and bridge loans. This funding round is for a relatively mature business. And this is where the company goes into debt to get more capital. And number 8, eventually an IPO or initial public offering. This is the pinnacle of startup success. So, question, sino nga ba ang nakikinabang after a successful IPO? First, yung mga underwriters or investment banks. So, they're individuals or an institution who takes on financial risk for a fee. So, this means na mababa nila nabibili yung shares of stock compared to the IPO price offered to the investing public. Second, mga lawyers and accountants. Kailangan yung services ng mga lawyers or law firm in order to make sure that everything is in order for the business before it goes public. So the same thing goes for the accountants. They need to check their books before the IPO kasi if malaman na may discrepancies or abnormalities sa financials ng business, that's going to be bad for the IPO. So kumbaga yung IPO, parang marketing campaign yan. So pagka nagkaroon ng bad publicity or nagkaroon ng bad news about dun sa business na mag-IPO na in like let's say a couple of months, then that's gonna be bad. Kasi yung interest is mag-fizzle out, mawawala yung interest. And in turn, pwedeng mas bumaba yung ma-raise sila na capital dun sa IPO na yun. So mas bababa yung share price ng IPO nila. Third, mga early founders and angel investors. An IPO can be seen as an exit strategy for the company's founders and early investors, realizing the full profit from their private investment. So, syempre matagal bago mag-IPO yung isang startup business. So, yung in-invest nila na cash, na seed money, like from the very start na nag-start yung business. So, dito na magka-cash out yung mga angel investors na yun. But of course, they can still hold onto their shares up until mag-IPO. But usually, nagbebenta sila. And then lastly, the company itself. Since the business will get to keep most of their IPO proceeds or yung cash from the IPO. Usually kapag minamarket na ang IPO ng isang company, they specify a big project that needs a huge amount of capital to get the ball rolling. And that's one of the main reasons why they're eyeing an IPO. And going back to the present, looks like the PSE will miss its 6 IPO targets this year. So, analysts expect that better market conditions next year will change that. So far this year, there have only been 3 IPOs. So yung first, gold and copper mining company, Oceana Gold Philippines Incorporated. Then number 2, renewable energy companies, City Core Renewable Energy Corp. And number 3, Next Gen Energy Corp. So in fairness, dito sa tatlong IPOs na to, mas mataas na ng konti yung current market price niya compared to the initial share price ng IPO. And there's also another one coming up on November. The IPO of Cebu-based fuel retailer Topline Business Development Corporation, or simply, or in short, Topline. Around 2.87 billion pesos yung expected amount na ma-raise ng business after the successful IPO. So again, another question. Should you participate in IPOs? Obviously, there are 2 answers. The first one will be no. Kasi you should always proceed with caution when it comes to IPOs. You should adapt a skeptical approach according to the GOAT of investing, Warren Buffett. So he views IPOs as seller's market, where companies aim to maximize their return and often price the business's shares above their intrinsic value. So ito kasi yung chance ng mga founders na mag-cash out and ng mga initial investors nila. So of course, kumaga, ang goal nila is kumita dito sa IPO na to. And ma-maximize yung gains na yun. So of course, kapag bibili ka pa lang sa simula ng IPO, then ikaw na yung magti-take on ng risk na yun. So for sure na pinagkakitaan ka ng mga founders and ng mga initial investors nila. Then number 2, syempre, the answer is yes. But only if you have the capital to spare and you're willing to stick with your investments long term. Kasi usually, hindi talaga nagpa-pan out ng maganda yung mga IPOs. So IPOs are a hit or a miss. You can't really guarantee if yung returns mo will be amazing or atrocious. So you're at an informational disadvantage right at the very start compared to the person who's selling, which are the founders, and they know what's going on with the business internally and with their books internally. Essentially, they know where the bodies are. So if may mga tinatago sila, then kapag lumabas yun, it's gonna be like a, corporate scandal. And magtatank yung share prices nung company. So just look at Coinbase and Robinhood sa US. Their IPO share prices are still higher compared to its current market price. So I can remember nung 2021, that was, I believe, nag-IPO yung Coinbase, and a lot of YouTube finance creators sa US, they aped in dun sa IPO ng Coinbase. Kasi hype din on yung cryptocurrencies. So sobrang taas nung initial price ng coin. I believe nag-debut at around $381. And then ngayon I believe nasa 190 na lang siya. And same thing for Robinhood. Hindi pa rin siya nakaka-recover from like the initial price ng IPO. And in the PSE naman, we have two examples, Mondnisen and Del Monte. Both of their share prices are still well below their IPO share price. So personally for me, nag-participate ako sa Mondnisen, but eventually binenta ko rin siya nung medyo nakabawi na. And at first, gusto ko siyang i-hold lang. But after seeing yung performance niya, I believe that was 2 years ng financials, I just gave up on it essentially. So binenta ko na lang siya. And nag-explore ako ng ibang options sa mas magiging profitable. So again, proceed with caution when it comes to IPOs. Let's follow the advice of Warren Buffett. That's gonna be it for this episode, guys. Thank you for watching, listening. I will see you on the next episode. Always remember, be Peso smart.